Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Hercules and the Masked Rider from 1963. It's the 10th film in the Clash of the Olympians collection. It's directed by Piero Pierotti and stars Sergio Ciani and Jose Grecki. Of course, if you look at the posters for this or the previous film Hercules Against the Moonmen, you'd notice that Sergio Ciani's name was nowhere to be found. That's because he went by the more English-sounding name of Alan Steele. Not an uncommon practice. Sergio Ciani, since we're on the subject, makes for one incredibly attractive Hercules, and out of all the Hercules we've seen so far, he is by far the most oiled up and sweaty of them. I remember the last review of Hercules Against the Moonmen, which he starred in. There was a close-up of his chest all sweated out that lasted at least 30 seconds. And it made me once again ask the question, who are these films really for? But then again, I'm certainly not complaining. This film should really be called Hercules and Zorro, because it's about the adventures of Hercules and a man that fits the exact bill for Zorro, but isn't called Zorro, probably for copyright purposes. And then add to that the film should really be called Zorro, and every once in a while Hercules won't remember he's in the film, because Hercules is very much an afterthought in this film that focuses almost solely on the plight of Don Juan, who is trying to save his true love, which is his cousin, by the way, from having to marry an evil man who also happens to be his nemesis. Hercules fits in because on occasion he is shown fighting alongside Don Juan. Although whereas everyone in this film fights with fencing swords, Hercules only uses his muscles and fists, which of course he leaves on display in every scene except for one wedding scene near the end where he wears a shirt out of politeness. This wouldn't be strange in a sword and sandals film, but this is more of a Zorro swashbuckler, and most everyone else in the film is fully clothed, so it is a little weird. But Hercules doesn't give a fuck, and so why should we? This tale of not Zorro is pretty fun other than everything I just said, which doesn't too heavily affect the film. But regardless of how basically above average this film is, it doesn't really change the fact it doesn't really belong in this Clash of the Olympians collection, because other than a few scenes with Hercules kind of sort of in them, this film is about a whole other country and a whole other time frame. Then again, I guess by that logic, Hercules Against the Mongols doesn't belong either. I'm giving this film a B-, and tomorrow it's the 50 Drama Movie Classics film Unsane, which I own in its original version Tenebrae, so we'll be watching that instead. See y'all then.